He is heading to the combine today where the business gets done. And now that your Patriots have the number 3 pick in the draft, you're left. You should be interested in this combine as it will greatly affect the future of this team with the new front office and new coaching staff and almost every position being a position of need, including the quarterback position. Chris, thank you for joining us on the Volkswagen Dealers Expert Hotline.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me.
All right, so we know about the top 3 quarterbacks in the draft. I guess the kid from UNC hasn't decided if he's going to go there yet. Drake May. But we know that Daniels and Caleb Williams aren't. What kids are quarterbacks are in the participating in the combine, and where do you see them slotted?
Well, first I'll start with Drake May. I think has a great opportunity to step into the limelight. I don't know necessarily how much it could boost his stock. Could it boost him ahead of Caleb Williams at number 1? Probably not. But like you said, with Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels not participating, Drake May has a big arm. He's going to be one of the biggest quarterbacks there. He showed a very live arm plus arm talent during his 3 years at North Carolina. I think it would be great for him to work out and just, again, it's not going to change anything that much, but it could just push him in the right direction for the competitiveness angle that a lot of coaches want to see. J.J. McCarthy from Michigan there's been no indication that he will not work out. He's another one, big-time talent, not quite, Patrick Mahomes type talent, but he's going to be bigger. He's got a good arm. He's athletic. And Bo Nix is the other one. He and his Pac-12 counterpart, Michael Penix Jr., I think it's a big week for them. They are seemingly set to work out. How athletic will Michael Penix be? That's the one concern with him. He can make all the throws. He has kind of a awkward or obscure release, but gets the football down the field as good as any quarterback in this class. So just questions about his mobility. And then with Bo Nix, I think he is a great athlete. He was, Mr. Football in Alabama 4 or 5 years ago, started at Auburn, wasn't very good, and then settled into this kind of game manager role that I think didn't really highlight his ability to run with the football, which we know is so important in today's NFL.
Okay, so you mentioned Penix in his release, which is the first and most obvious thing that I notice about him when I watch him throw. Can he do anything to dispel the notion out there that I have and a lot of people I probably have? It's like, okay, he can get the ball downfield in college, but when the lineman grows 6 inches in the NFL on both sides of the ball, is he still going to be able to get away with that?
That's a good question, and I don't know if he can dispel any of those concerns at the combine. He's not going to come out and suddenly throw the ball differently. I mean, we've gone through many quarterbacks throughout the pre-draft process over the years of, he's going to change his release, Tim Tebow being the most famous one that ultimately never happened. I do think, and I kind of just touched on it, that if Penix Jr. tests and goes through the whole gamut of the workouts and isn't a lower-level athlete, that'll do a lot for his draft stock, because I do think there are concerns about can he do it when he's not perfectly protected in the NFL. But there's also, and this is coming from me and a few people that I've spoken to in the league, it's the off structure stuff that is seemingly there with all the elite quarterbacks today, just not there with him. So again, I don't think there's anything he can do that would really assuage those concerns in terms of creativity with his legs. But if he tests like an above average athlete, it'll just make him be a little bit more encouraging as, hey, maybe with some seasoning, he can be someone that can, run a bootleg or occasionally escape from pressure and make a play outside of the pocket, because he was such a good, strictly pocket passer those 2 years at Washington.
The other big story out of Indianapolis so far has been the wide receivers. Marvin Harrison Jr. not only won't test here, apparently he's not going to test at his pro day either. He prefers to let his tape stand for itself. But the bigger story is Malik Neighbors has apparently passed him on some teams' draft boards. Are you on board this train? Where do you land on this?
I am. I think these two are elite talents. This is like Jamar Chase, Jalen Waddle type, where they're going to go inside probably the top 6, with the Giants sitting there at 6, which is relatively rare at the wide receiver position. I have Neighbors ahead of Harrison for one reason. He is better after the catch. And you watch that Super Bowl, the Chiefs and the 49ers, easily the 2 best teams after the catch the last 5 to 7 years. The Chiefs have led the NFL in total yards after the catch in the regular season 4 straight years. The 49ers have led the league in yards after the catch per reception in the last 6 years. So to me, that's what I'm looking for in a wide receiver, especially if I'm drafting one that early. The ability to stop and start, take a slant, go 30 yards, take a bubble screen, take a dig route, create those big plays. Marvin Harrison Jr. has run a larger variety of routes. He's just a more polished route runner and can get down the field. He's going to be a little bigger than Malik Nabers. But in today's NFL, I think yards after the catch is the name of the game now and will be for the next 3 to 5 years. So that's why I have Nabers just slightly ahead of Marvin Harrison Jr. It's kind of a shame we're not going to see them work out because they're both freaky athletes.
I love it. I love this. And okay, so that being said, you Waddle wouldn't be bad to have Waddle, and it certainly wouldn't be bad to have Jamar Chase. Is there a reason the Patriots, in your estimation, should not take a quarterback at 3? I'll start with that.
No, I'm a big person where being a draft analyst, it comes with the job that you're going to get a lot of players wrong. And even Bill Belichick got a lot of players wrong, like the greatest coach of all time. Yeah.
Might have cost him his job. I'm taking a wild guess.
Yeah.
Peter King got him wrong, too.
So where I've kind of landed on this is you can go into a draft process and understand, look, I'm going to be wrong 60 to 70% of the time. But what I think teams and for myself, draft analysts have to get right is positional value. And when you're the Patriots and you have not picked anywhere close to this high since Gerard Mayo, the head coach in 2008, you need to pick the highest value positions. And for the Patriots and Bob Kraft, they're not wanting to pick here again. They don't want to have the 5th pick next year. I think it's a very good quarterback class. You don't know if Drake May is going to be the one that really pops. Is it going to be Jaden Daniels? Is it going to be Caleb Williams? Is it 2 of those guys? Is it none of them? But I think you have to roll the dice at that most valuable position because, yes, the last few years there was a lack of explosiveness on offense and Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi were not in the best situation, but we tend to see the good quarterbacks can elevate those around them, and suddenly those explosiveness problems aren't really question marks when you have that quarterback that can really move the needle. So I think unless they just totally are not entranced by who they would be able to pick at number 3 overall, yes, I would say just because of positional value and the potential payout and dividend, you have to go quarterback at 3 if you're the Patriots.
Okay, and just as a follow-up, so say there's a team that's willing to make the trade for 3, they pick up the Patriots, that team's first-round pick this year, their first-round pick next year, maybe an additional pick. You just said, you got a positional need and that you need a quarterback. Is there a possibility that if trading down and picking up different extra draft capital, you believe one of these second-tier quarterbacks is worth that kind of move? Like,
absolutely.
Okay, so is it J.J. McCarthy far and away worse than the Daniels, May, Caleb Williams in your estimate?
No, I don't think so. And based on that situation, I think that would be option number 2 in terms of just being the best option for the Patriots. And you would have to look at it like this. Is Jaden Daniels, let's say, who's kind of presumed right now to be the number 3 overall pick or to be there at 3 when the Patriots go on the clock, is Jaden Daniels a first-round pick and change better than J.J. McCarthy? I don't think he is. So I think if you're the Patriots and you're like, man, we have a bunch of needs, we understand it probably is not going to be that super quick of a turnaround. Let's build this team out at the start of the Gerard Mayo era. If you don't love Jaden Daniels, if it's Drake May and you're like, I don't really love him, let's open up the phone lines. And like you said, get a 2025 first. It would probably get them a huge trade package for a team to come up for a quarterback or Malik Nabers or Marvin Harrison Jr. I think J.J. McCarthy, I even like Spencer Rattler later, probably not even in the first round. Michael Pratt from Tulane is good too. But J.J. McCarthy would be the one because of his arm talent, the improvisation ability, and the fact that he was pretty good, even though he wasn't the focal point. I think his best football is in front of him. If you put him with a glut of picks and all the money that the Patriots have in free agency, that would be a pretty good option too.
Yeah, because that's the word I've been hearing for months now, that J.J. McCarthy, when he throws, when he starts working out for teams, he's got unbelievable physical talent that maybe wasn't showcased at Michigan.
Absolutely. That's like exactly what I was going to say, that it was obviously a run-based, defense-based offense there at Michigan. But when you watch Michigan over the last 3 years, there were a lot of times where they needed a big throw. They needed that far hash deep out on 3rd and 12, and McCarthy fired it in there. And you're like, man, that was a long throw with a lot of velocity. Or when things broke down, he would sometimes look a little awkward doing it, but he could make those big plays. I think that play in the semifinal against Alabama, where it was like a reverse, it was almost like a Philly special back to him, and the pass was not good. He caught it with one hand, got the ball, and threw it downfield as he took a hit from an Alabama defender. That, to me, was kind of signified what J.J. McCarthy can do outside of the structure. And again, I think he's ascending because he's big, he's athletic, and has the arm talent to kind of step into more of a featured role in the NFL.
All right, Chris Trapasso, love it. Good stuff. Read his stuff at CBSSports.com as the Combine gets underway. Thank you so much for the time, sir.
Thanks, guys.